Hello, everybody. This is Sue Frederick. Let's have a mystical conversation, the kind where we lose ourselves in the wonders of divine mysteries, share dreams from the other side, and soul mission insights. I'm Sue Frederick, the author of 11 books, including Through a Divine Lens, Bridges to Heaven, I See Your Dream Job, and the Sacred Numerology Workbook. I'm a lifelong intuitive master numerologist, ordained unity minister, and soul regression therapist. That's a mouthful, okay? But I'm much more excited today about my beautiful guest, who I also consider a beautiful friend of mine. I'm so blessed to know her. This is Karen Noe, a renowned psychic medium, spiritual counselor, and healer with a 2-year waiting list. Since best-selling author Dr. Wayne Dyer left the physical plane in 2015, Karen has been receiving profound messages from him for his family and for the world. Wayne also comes through with a group of other celestial beings called the We Guides. That includes St. Francis of Assisi, one of my favorites from childhood, and numerous angels and ascended masters. She's the author of We Consciousness, Your Life After Death, the Angel Quest Oracle Deck, Through the Eyes of Another, and The Rainbow Follows the Storm. Boy, that's the truth, right? She is the founder of the Angel Quest Center in Waldwick, New Jersey, where she teaches classes, gives readings, and practices alternative healing. You can listen to Karen on the Angel Quest show on all podcast platforms. And to find out more about her, go to her website, karennoe.com, and you spell it KarenNoe.com. All right. I'm so happy to have you here with us today, Karen.
Oh, thank you for having me on your show.
You're such an angel, and of course, you talk to the angels all the time. And I have your Angel Quest Oracle cards here, and
Oh, you do?
I
Okay.
pulled one today. So why don't we start? You tell me what this is about. It's divine protection with Archangel Michael.
Well, how do I say this? We're being divinely protected by the angels, especially Archangel Michael is the bouncer of the angels, taking away negativity in the country and in the world right now. So just know we're all being divinely protected, including our country.
Well, that's a good segue into
Yes.
our discussion of 2025. But I also want you to talk a little bit more about when you began connecting with angels and deceased loved ones. Do you want to take us back to that?
Sure, sure. I'll make it quick because it's a long story. But when I was younger, I was always psychic and I would have dreams before they happened. Things happened in real life. And my father used to take me to the racetrack and I'd pick the winning horses for him. But now I'm an animal activist and I don't go to the track. I'm just stating that right now, but he's in his 90s. He still goes to the track. But anyway, about 25 years ago, I was going through a difficult time in my life. And I sat at the edge of my bed and I just yelled at God and I said, am I going to be okay? And with that, I saw a light that came towards me from the other side of the room. And as it was coming towards me, I said, if you're not of God, please leave. But the more I said that, the more it kept coming towards me and eventually enveloped me. And at that time, I heard an audible voice that said, Lucia Lucina, Bella Lucia Lucina. And for those Italian listeners, they know what that means. It means light, beautiful little light.
Oh, beautiful.
And I've since learned it was St. Francis of Assisi. And that's my animal connection and peace
Right.
as well.
That's
So if
so
you've read any of
beautiful.
my books or come on any of my, Facebook, Instagram, or any of those sites, it's all about peace and love and animals.
And the
Uh,
we consciousness, that's such an important concept, especially for 2025. So tell
yeah.
me more about the we consciousness. And by the way, you broke it down into 33 concepts. Or do you know that 33 is the most sacred number in numerology?
Is that true? Because
Yeah.
when I asked the angels why, I had no idea. They said it signified divine guidance and the
Yes.
upliftment of all of mankind.
And it's also known as the Christ consciousness number, which is the number of compassion and healing and everything good for the world at large. So your angels are so powerful, giving you 33 we concepts.
And I did not know that up until today. Thank you for telling me.
So
Yeah,
which we concept do we most need to be thinking about right now as we go through 2025?
oh my goodness, all of them. But the first one basically covers them all, that we are all one. And after we leave the physical body, we feel that oneness in an instant. And that includes every nationality, all animals, all people, angels, saints, beings from other dimensions, and so forth, all of nature. And whatever we do to ourselves or another, it affects everyone. And we
You
have to
know,
realize that.
I think the we consciousness is so powerful because our world is in such a place of division and blame. Like you're the good person, you're the bad person, all of that. And even when, I mean, you can tell me if you believe this too, that when we cross, we see that even the people who hurt us or who we might have called bad players while we were on Earth, they were part of our soul agreement for growth and highest good. So in actuality, there are no bad players here. Do you feel that way?
Absolutely. And we're all doing the best we can given the circumstances in our lives. So
So
the most
important.
important thing we have to do is see through the other person's eyes right
Yes,
here and now. After we leave the physical body, we'll be able to see that. We
that's
go through
right.
that life review. But if we could do it now, we could create peace in our lives and in the lives around us as well.
Do you feel intuitively that that will happen here soon?
I'm I'm hoping, but I am feeling it. I'm almost wondering if it's because I want it to happen. What I feel, without a doubt, is that it begins with us, each one of us, that if each one of us raises our vibration more on par with the energy of who we really are, which is God within us, which is only love and only peace, when we do that and we tap into that, that's how peace becomes a reality in the planet. When we're
And
not blaming the other person. Yeah.
that takes us right back to Dr. Wayne Dyer, who was probably one of the original teachers of these concepts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you still feel him in your heart and around you?
When he first passed, it was a lot. And don't forget, he has 8 children and a wife. And I was on the phone with them twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending. And he's loud. And we retain the same personality as we had when we were here in the physical body. So I would be in the middle of making dinner and, call Serena now, do it now. And I'm like, oh, making dinner, do it now. That's the way he was. But he had
Mhm.
very important messages to share, and
Yeah,
he shared these messages to his family, very specific messages, so that they knew without a doubt it was him. Very
so
personal things
good.
that
Yeah.
nobody would know. But he came singularly to them
Mhm.
and as a group consciousness in as the we guides, where it would be hard to differentiate him from everybody else. It would be angels and saints and Wayne Dyer, and they gave us the 33 concepts of the we consciousness.
So, what is your feeling about what he has to say about this time period of 2025?
And it begins with us. He's a large part of what I'm feeling. They're speaking to me that we're looking outside of ourselves to create peace. You're looking for a leader or someone out there that's going to lead us to peace. But we are the ones we've been waiting for. And each one of us, not just me, not just you. And if each one of us realizes that peace can become a reality, but we just have to become the peace that we already are, become the love that we already are.
And that's hard in the human realm. I mean, just speaking for myself, having a physical body and being in the physical, heavy, dense energy of this earth, um, there's always emotions that come to us that we may know are not helpful, and yet they're washing over us, and then
Mhm.
even health challenges and all of this. What advice do you have for us humans trying to shift into the higher frequency, trying to be a part of this new world that you see and that we all believe is possible?
The most important thing is that we set the intention of becoming that person. We have to remember who we really are. Each one of us has God within us. That's amazing. Just imagine that. You will feel that connection after you leave the physical body, but why do we have to wait
I know.
until it's too late? We can understand that right here and now.
I love that. This is why, Karen, I became a unity minister because I studied all the religions, and unity was the only one who said, we are all part of God. God is a loving force within each of us. And I remember when I read that and heard that, I just burst into tears because I knew it surpassed all the other teachings. And I had loved Buddhism and Hinduism. I still do. They're beautiful. And I grew up Catholic and I studied so many different pathways. But this idea that we are part of God, that God is in us, that to me is the ultimate truth of why we're here. It's
Yes.
amazing to me that the world resists that idea and wants to think of God as outside of them and even judging them, right?
Look, you can imagine each one of us, anyone who's listening, everyone on the planet, um, the power that you have within you, each one of us.
Right,
And there are no difference between the miracle workers and those who are not. The only difference is that the miracle workers know who they are.
right. Right. And, there was a quote that I was using in Unity when I was learning all this, and it said, wherever I go, God is. And I love that affirmation. I just wish everyone would say that because wherever I go, God is, which means I always have guidance. I always have the ability to open my heart and love. And I'm always protected in a way by aligning with that knowledge.
Expect it and know it for sure. Just understand that that's a fact.
That's right. So I want to throw into the conversation that numerology has always been a sacred tool that I was actually given it when my husband died in 1980. I think the spirits knew that if they didn't give me some kind of spiritual tool, I was not going to have fulfill my soul potential, because Paul's death was devastating to me. I was 29 and he died of cancer. So the guides instantly brought numerology into my life, which I've studied ever since. And it shows us this divine order of the world that can seem like it has no order, right? And
Mhm.
what's important is 2025 is a nine universal year. And when we look at that, it just resonates so much with what's going on because nine is the number, the ultimate lesson number of what are we here to learn? Can we surrender the ego and embrace the higher lesson of it? And it has a humanitarian component, meaning we're meant to be helping each other. And so when I look at us moving through 2025, when half the world seems like they don't agree with that concept of humanitarian helping each other and loving each other, I believe the energy of the nine will purify and shake up humanity to get us to that higher frequency. That's what a nine energy does.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard. And, like when we look back at our own nine personal years, we know that their 9 year endings can be a little painful. So, for example, you are in an 11 personal year because I know your path. You're a beautiful angel seven path soul, and you're in an 11 personal year, which is a year of great sacred intuitive connection to the divine.
Mhm.
Also very sensitive. Whenever I'm in an 11 personal year, I tend to get my feelings hurt very easily because you're feeling so much.
Yes. 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 More than
Yeah.
ever.
But it's your sacred connection, Karen. It's your lifting up to really talk to the angels and to spirit and to be more connected to the divine than to the earth world.
Mhm.
And that's such a good thing because this earth world can be so discouraging for us, you know?
I know. I'm airy fairy. I'm all the way, I teach classes on how to balance our chakras, how to keep them all clear. And the top chakras are always open, but the bottom ones, I
Right.
have to ground myself as well.
Yes, yes. You know, that's the thing. I believe, or I'm hoping, I guess I could say I believe that in this new cycle that numerology says will start next January, we start a whole new cycle, that's when the veil is thin enough that we actually can begin to see the everyday person can see spirit and see angels and really recognize that this physical world is not the only game in town, right? And if we could really understand that and really walk here with that awareness, we couldn't behave badly. We would just see the depth of why we're here on Earth.
Exactly. And also, I wonder what you think about this about life on other planets. There
Yes.
are so many drones in New Jersey. I've seen them almost every night, and
Mhm.
people are saying they're military planes, and I'm thinking it's more than that.
Yeah, well, that's a part of what can happen this 9 year when we let
Yeah.
go of our old understanding of life on Earth. It's time for the full disclosure. You know,
Yeah.
we've known that there's beings from other galaxies here and that they've even interacted with the government. You know, there's so much evidence with it. But I keep hearing that they don't want to create a war by their arrival. So they're
Oh,
having to
wow.
dance very
Yes.
carefully. I
Right.
mean, meaning they're not the aggressors. We are. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That
Extra
the
celestial.
humans,
I call them
right?
extra celestials, not extraterrestrial, celestials, oh, sorry, or aliens, because they are
Exactly. They
absolutely here
they
to
are the
protect.
highly evolved souls. Yes.
Yes.
So we're the ones, humans here on Earth, who still play war games and who believe that pe bad guys are coming to get us all the time. And
Mhm.
that's what has to shift. And in this 9 year, nothing could help with that more, I think, than this full disclosure. But they have to do it in a way that takes away our nuclear powers so that we're suddenly shut down. We can't create a nuclear war with each other or with other galaxies because that would destroy our planet. And I know that these ETs do not want Earth to destroy itself. That's one of their covenants with Earth, is that they
Mhm.
are not going to let us destroy this beautiful planet.
Exactly. And they did this before during World War II.
Right.
Well,
And even during the Cuban Missile Crisis, you know, that right after that happened, all these people who manned the nuclear silos reported that their capability of pushing the button totally shut down and they were out of commission for like 24 hours and there was no reason for it and they couldn't figure it out. Well, that was the divine beings from other galaxies going, you guys can't do this. We're going to show you we have control of it.
and they mean us no, they're peacemakers. They want
That's
peace
right.
on the planet.
So, Karen, what else is important for us to talk about with your we consciousness, with your channeling, with your work with angels? What would you like to share about that?
I would say that everything begins with ourselves. If we don't have peace within ourselves, we cannot extend this peace to others. So to really work on ourselves, pray, meditate, do things that you enjoy, talk to the angels, get more on par with the energy of who you really are. And then when you do that, you could make a difference in the world.
And you do healing work as well,
Yes.
like energy work, right?
Yes.
So tell
I,
me a little more about that.
well, I am a psychic medium, but I don't just sit here and somebody's in the chair across from me and I give them messages. I do Reiki on them. And as I'm doing the healing, people come through. So I'm
Wow.
healing the living loved one who is in need of healing. The deceased loved one is not in need of healing, but it's healing for the living loved one to hear from them.
Yes.
So they're always in a place of complete peace and love.
I think you did a little healing on me. because I was supposed to be on your podcast back around Thanksgiving. And I called you that morning telling you I was really, really sick and had to postpone. And you said, all right, I'll do some Reiki on you. And I, ever since that episode, I have been doing so well, better than I have felt in probably a year. And
Oh,
I do attribute that to people like you, Karen, doing energy healing and having so much power, good power.
thank you. I'm so glad you're feeling better.
It's been a health crisis year for me, and I'm usually very healthy, but I
Yeah.
also know that it's all been calling me to recalibrate my physicality to a higher vibration because we're being asked to live at a higher vibrational frequency, just like you're saying. And especially when we come out of this 9 year and we start our new cycle, it's going to be consciousness on a higher frequency. So those of us who still want to stay in the human earth realm, we're going to have to be able to notch our vibration up. And Wayne Dyer always talked about that, our vibration, our frequency. We're going to have to really pay attention to that in this new cycle. And I've even heard that people who are older, so for example, me, I'm old, I'm in my 70s, our bodies have been
And I can't.
no,
You
very
look amazing.
true. But our body has been calculating because we were born at such a low frequency time.
Yeah.
And our body really has to learn if we're going to stay that we've got to have it recalibrated. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, remember, as Wayne Dyer said, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So when we focus on the spiritual part of who we really are, the body heals as well. So I think that's the most important thing, that we focus on the spiritual. But
Yeah.
I do see, I mean, for example, I don't understand. I've never had accidents in my life but the last few months, oh my goodness, I had a glass table fall on my hands and I had, hand surgery and things happened, health issues in the family. And I'm not quite sure what that's all about. It's
I
probably what you're saying.
I
You
think it's interesting because I've heard this from so many of my friends, especially friends who are doing important work in the world, that they're having all these bizarre little health crisis things happen. And we're all the people who believe that we're souls on a journey. So we're all trying to ask, what is this asking me to do? And I know for me, it has made me spend a lot more time in my connection to the angels, in my frequency work, and my meditations, whereas sometimes I had gotten kind of cavalier and not, well, I could miss meditation for a day if I'm busy or something. But now, like my health has called me right to get back to that spiritual practice, Sue, that you had thousands of millions of lifetimes ago, and even at the beginning of this life, when I found my sacred self in my early 30s, never missed a day of meditation. Now I've recalculated all of that so that I am never again missing meditation and my spiritual practices because I think that's required as we move into this new vibration.
Mhm. That's beautiful. It's true. It's true.
Mhm. And what would you say to people wanting to know more about your work? Like, where are you teaching next? How you're still doing individual sessions with people who you said you have a 2 year wait
Well, this
list?
is, there's a lot there. I've been booked for 2 years out for about 20 years, and I am also getting older. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 2 years. So in 2026, I'm already booked out until the end of this year. I'm on a little hiatus, but I'll be teaching at Omega for 3 different times. At Kripalu, I'll be there. I'll be at Lilydale.
Oh,
Uh, we're doing something together with for Humanities team
yes, yes.
and lots of fun things.
That's so great. I understand this idea of the client load because I'm booked pretty far ahead too. And just having my recent health crisis, I've thought, maybe I need to shift and do more group work and classes and all of that because it is to me, that is easier because I do so much for individual clients. You know, they come out of it saying their life was changed. I'm sure yours do too. And
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
there is, I think there's a time, you know, at least for me, where I will really limit the number of clients, you know, that I do that work with because it does, after a while, kind of, it's hard on the body, you know?
It is. It is. And I feel the same way as you do, that I'm leaning towards teaching more classes and doing more groups, larger groups. How in the beginning, when I first felt Wayne Dyer, I said, "How may I serve?" Because he used to always say that. If you ask the universe, "How may I serve?" the universe works in ways to serve you as well. And he said, "You're already serving." And I said, "Fine, but how may I serve more?" And that's what I'm asking now. Every day I say, "How may I serve more? Show me." And I always
That's a
say,
very good
"Show me."
affirmation for all of
Yeah,
us. How may I serve more? Yeah,
more and show me.
show
Because
me.
sometimes I don't know. A lot of times I don't know. And then all of a sudden it'll hit me, oh, do that.
Do you
Yeah.
have a new book or any kind of new, that kind of project coming out?
I have had the latest book on hold because I'm always busy. And that's another reason why I'll be on hiatus. But the next book is about how our thoughts create our reality, but more to create on a higher level of consciousness, not just to creating a car and all that is wonderful, but it's more about how we can all create collectively
Yeah.
to create peace on earth.
You know, this might be a controversial idea, but my idea about law of attraction is that when we first became aware of it, you know, and Wayne was one of the first teachers of it, and my phone is suddenly talking to me. I wonder if Wayne is here with us. That's
Probably.
so bizarre. Um, my phone just said it's 11:29 a.m. And I'm thinking,
Oh,
okay, phone, I didn't ask you what time it
oh my
was.
God. Wow. What does that mean? That number? Maybe that number.
Yes, 11 and 29 equals 11. It's all 11, sacred number
Okay.
11. Okay, who's here, Wayne?
Angel number. Yeah.
Oh, I
Wow.
wonder if, yeah, I was about to talk about law of attraction. He might have some input on this. So let me just say what I was going to say,
Mhm.
that when the law of attraction first came to our group consciousness, you know, even when What the Bleep Do We Know came out, it was like the early 2000s, you know. Um, we were playing with it like kids, you know, like let me manifest a check in the mail, let me manifest a car, let me manifest a new job. And so the universe allows that kind of playfulness as we learn how powerful we are. But now that is not the point of law of attraction. And
Right.
now we're being asked to calibrate it in a different way where you're calibrating the ability, you're now aligning with the ability to fulfill your soul's great potential
Absolutely.
rather than buy the car, you know. You're here to live your highest good and do the greatest work you can on the world. And so now law of attraction is working mainly in that direction because people have enough things, they've learned about all of that. Do you believe this is true?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that we can all create as a group consciousness. If we all raise our vibration, we'll attract more peace. So that's where I'm going with this book, is to raise
That's so good.
ourselves. And when we do that, we attract more peace in our lives, and each person will. And then that will collectively create more peace in the world.
Yeah, it's so interesting that people's take on law of attraction instantly was about how do I get more things, right?
But that helps them, something that helps people to believe that it
That they're powerful. Yeah.
it really does work. So you
Yeah,
get what you think about,
that's true. And
whether you like it or not, right?
I
People,
know, and I've
yeah.
always believed that this universe is a cosmic interplay between our soul mission, what we've come to accomplish, which is written in the numerology, you know, you being an angel seven path soul to bring that spiritual light to the world, and me being a 22 sort of cosmic teacher to bring that kind of information to the world. And yet it's an interplay between our missions here, and our energy, determining how we move through our challenges. So when I've heard people who were invested in law of attraction say things like, well, if you've lost a loved one, actually, they would say it to me because my husband died when I was 29, and they would say things like, well, you attracted that.
You did
And
not.
I
That
was
was not
like,
you.
no,
No.
no, no. And what I've now come to is there are certain destined parts of our soul contract that we're going to walk, no matter how painful they are. But the way our energy is and what frequency we're on with our energy determines how we move through them. And if we move through them in the greatest grace and the ability to accomplish our greatest potential. Does that resonate with you?
Perfectly said. You said it all. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially these grieving parents that I work with who say things like, I lost my child and somebody's told me that maybe I created that with law of
Oh,
attraction. I know
that's
my
just
head
so
explodes when I hear that.
gosh. And do you get that some of my clients say a medium told them that their loved one is in a bad place,
I
or
know
what did
it's
they say? Or they're
so.
going to die in 5 years from now?
Or
Why?
the worst kind of messages that I've heard are things like, "Oh, your departed loved one is stuck in
No,
between
they're
the
not.
realms." There's no such thing
Absolutely
as
not.
that, and we want to assure any of you that the soul always can move to the light, that there are beings who come to help us when we cross, to make sure that we're moving to the light. There's no being stuck anywhere.
No.
Some people have had scary near-death experiences, but they didn't cross. I believe that those were just to show them to live more in the light, that they could make a choice that way. Because my own people that I've heard those stories from changed their lives after that happened, and they became much more loving, aware people. So it served that kind of purpose. But we don't cross over into a scary realm. We
Mhm.
cross over into light and love and pure higher consciousness.
Absolutely. And if you go on YouTube and you just Google near-death experiences, 90% of those experiences are positive.
That's right.
They're
That's right.
amazing
Yep.
experiences.
I love talking to you so much, Karen.
I
Um,
love talking to you.
there-
I wanted to ask you, maybe later you could email me how to become a Unity minister. I think that's where I feel guided to go right now.
well, I got to tell you, that's a whole lot of school. It was 4
Okay.
years for me.
Oh,
And
mm,
unless, I was doing it while I was still running my business. And I look back on it as being a great time of me recalibrating and kind of forgiving the God of the Catholic Church. That whole story I was raised with, original sin and all of that awful stuff that's human made, not God truth. And then coming into unity and getting to reprogram all that so that I can actually look at the Bible and see a different message in it. And I can see Jesus was a beautiful teacher on earth, teaching us enlightenment, that we are all capable of it. So unity kind of reframes all of that. And it meant so much to me that way. But on the other hand, I could not do it now at my energy level because it takes a whole lot of school and papers and all of that.
oh, okay. Papers.
But I'll send you the link to it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it was more
Papers.
intense
Oh,
than I thought. Yeah, yeah. And yet I don't regret it because I love being able to say, if you're in a spiritual crisis, which I think everybody who's grieving goes through the spiritual crisis where they go, if there's a God, how could God have taken my loved one? And God did not take your loved one. That was a soul choice of soul agreements between you and your loved ones for highest growth and highest good. So when I get to work with grieving people, to be able to say, let me tell you what unity teaches about this is very helpful to people. And I'm very grateful every day to be able to do that.
that's beautiful.
All right, Karen, anything else you'd like to share? Closing words or anything before we go?
I just want to tell everybody to remember who they are, that each of us has God within us, and the power we have within us is amazing. We could create miracles in our lives and in the world. We don't have to wait until we die to go through that life review. We could do it right here and now. We could see through each person's eyes as if we are them. Why do they do what they do? Try to understand them, forgive those who hurt you, ask forgiveness if you did something to someone else, treat yourself with the respect that you deserve, all of it. You don't have to wait until you die to go through all of this, and you can make a difference in your life and in the lives of everyone else.
And do you have any upcoming gigs you want to talk about?
There's two new ones. I mean, I've been doing Omega for a while, and but the Kripalu is new.
And when
Uh,
is that?
that will be next December.
Ah, good.
And the Lilydale is in August.
Perfect.
That's for a weekend. Yeah.
So, tell them how to find you and connect with you, your website and everything.
You could go on my website at KarenNoe.com. That's KarenNoe.com.
All right, everybody, this has been a wonderful mystical conversation, and I know that you're as in love with Karen as I am now. So remember, she has an angel deck, Angel Quest oracles on Amazon, plus many books on Amazon. So please visit her website and take advantage of her many, many blessings and gifts. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this mystical conversation, Karen.
Thank you.